Welcome to an enlightened hour of interactive talk. This is Guided Spirit Conversations with host Marla Goldberrg. In this program, we spotlight guests from all over the globe who have helped others change their lives and will provide you with the tips, tools, and techniques that you need to help you make a difference in your own life. Now, here is Marla Goldberrg.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all staying warm and safe wherever it is you are. If you're in Texas, you're probably not hearing this, but I know that our prayers, I'm speaking for my guest, Sheri Jewel, who I'll announce in a second, but our prayers go out to you, sending you, love and support and faith and hope that things will start, your electricity will start, they'll figure out what's going on there. You can get your heat, you can get water, and you can get warm up and have food and take a warm shower. So today my guest is Sheri Jewel, and Sheri is a certified medium who's been practicing for a minute or two. I say that jokingly, she's been doing this for quite a while. Sheri has studied and refined her skills extensively at the direction of James Van Praagh, John Holland, and other well-versed leaders in the industry. Sheri has been a keynote speaker demonstrating her mediumship at the Lightworkers Conference and at the All Souls Conference with Jenniffer Weigel. Sheri regularly participates in mediumship events and demonstrations and is available for private readings and group parties as well. Welcome, Sheri Jewel.
Thank you, Marla. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fine, just snowed in, and it's snowing again.
Snowed in, buzzing.
We got 18 inches the other day, and it's going again. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna say this. I'm being guided to say this, so I will. Please, all of you out there, if you know somebody who is alone, please check on them. Bring them into your circle. Bring them into your fold. It'll help keep your house a little bit warmer with that extra body heat. And you don't know, you might be saving a life. So please reach out to your neighbors and do some wellness checks. So you just brought that into it. As soon as you said that, it was like, boom, we need to.
Especially there's a lot of, elderly people that can't shovel, right? I mean, or it's dangerous to have a heart attack when they shovel. I mean, so it's again about human kindness and just help your neighbor,
And I'll tell you, doesn't it give you kudo points when you go on the other side, when you do nice things for other people?
Let's hope. Yes, I would say so. I mean, you're going to get more brownie points that way than something bad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's one of Jesus's teachings, right? It's like, be kind to your neighbor. So, people always say, like, what's my purpose? They think they have to do everything like so big. No, just you help the people that,
you can help.
Come by come by through your life, even for a minute. It doesn't have to be always at a grand scale. It's your daily things that can probably make more of a difference even than one big thing.
It's the small things who make more of a positive imprint than some of the bigger things.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they might be small, but they're consistent. It's like ants bringing grains of food to their nest or whatever it's called. Before you know it, there's a lot of food there for them, but it comes grain by grain.
Yeah, if you look at the ants, I mean, they're so unified as a team, right? We could all learn a lot just watching them.
I know, isn't it amazing?
It's wild, yeah.
And we were talking about that before we got on the air, about people and coming together and the energies and how consciousness is shifting and people are becoming more sensitive. And there's been a lot of people who have fallen off this earth just since December alone.
Yeah, and I think, some people in the spiritual communities will say, their souls were, chose to leave at this time. And
Yes.
there's some of us that are going to go through it.
Right. Well, I believe we all have an expiration date.
Yes. Yeah. I think, they say we have multiple exit points, right?
That's what I hear.
It doesn't always sound logical when you're grieving, but maybe their soul can help you more or help other people from the other side more than they could do here.
Let's talk about the other side and how the souls help from the other side. You're a psychic medium. You get lots of messages from those from the other side. Let's share about how those who transition can help us on this side from the experiences you've had.
Well, definitely. And your messages also can come from your own soul or your own, guides, team, angels, your dead people, whatever. it's almost like just that subtle feeling of, I think we had talked about this before, where like, one time want to turn right on a road and I ended up turning left because I was guided to do so.
Right.
Well, there ended up being a reason because I gave a message to a lady at a bank. So we all are guided. We just we have to observe, we have to go with, when you get that one little thought, that one little feeling, that's usually guidance from the other side or from your own soul. So, I think it's our job though. We have to, be more of an observer, be more present, have more awareness to notice it or trust it. It's a lot of it's trusting it.
Right. Trusting and have faith that what you're getting is so. But when
Yeah.
people transition, like when I transition to the other side, I'll use me as an example, whenever that should happen, I believe that I will be integral in the lives of my loved ones left down here because
100%.
I know so much more. I'm taking back so much more with me. Plus
Yeah.
I'm able to share from the other realms, information that I'm getting that can be helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of times spirit will make sure, you are going to definitely meet a certain person because they're going to be pivotal in your journey. I had that happen once with the vet, with a dog. And then that's how I met Jenniffer. What happened? I had a dream that said, you'll meet a person that has a series of books plus one more. And this one particular day, my dog was sick, so I had to bring in a sample, let's just say. Bring the dog, just the sample in a
Just
bag.
the sample.
And funny thing is, when I was there, I met a lady who wasn't supposed to be there either. And she's like, I don't know, something made me come. And then she said those exact words to me about, oh my God, you have to read the series of books. And she goes, oh, plus there's one more. And that's how I was, me and Jenniffer, Jenniffer Weigel connected. So I had no intention of going to the vet that day. Something made me go. So they can put thoughts, feelings, knowing into us, right? And we're not, I think where people get, mistaken is everyone thinks the message from the other side is going to be this really loud voice in your head.
Right.
No, a lot of times it's very subtle, so if you get that hunch or that feeling like I need to go to Walgreens or I need to go to the vet,
Follow it.
do it because there's a reason and you're being guided and you don't even know it. And so, yes, our loved ones will do that. Our soul will do that, so I live by that. The three words I love are trust, surrender, and allow.
It's so true. It's
No.
so true. And the thing is that, first of all, I want to let everybody know Jenniffer Weigel, if you don't know who Jen is, she is a known celebrity in the Chicagoland area. She's done, she's had bit parts. I think there's small parts in lots of movies, but she's been on radio, TV, the news.
Journalism, the Tribune, sometimes. I mean, she's done it, the gamut of everything.
Right. And her father used to be Tim Weigel, who was a big sports announcer in the Chicagoland area. So Sheri and I both come from Chicago. So that's where the connection is, so you understand. But Jenniffer has written some nice books. So if you're really interested in learning more, check her out and check out her books because they're easy reads.
Yeah.
Before I started, really getting entrenched in what I'm doing, I was turned on to Jen's books, and
The one book that resonated with me was I'm Spiritual, Damn It.
I love that. Yes.
I mean, so people think like you can't swear when you're spiritual or you can't, do this, that, and that. And that's not real. I mean, everything is spiritual. People think, not everything's spiritual. Every single thing we're doing, this conversation is spiritual.
It is very spiritual.
Life is spiritual every moment of every day.
But I have to argue the point of that everything we do is spiritual, because I think if you murder someone, or if you're a bigot or racist, or you hurt people intentionally, I mean, yes, there's lessons in it for both sides, but it's not a quote unquote spiritual act. You know what I'm saying? This is just from my terminology. Yes, everything has growth attached to it. I look at everything as less an opportunity, gift, or a combination of.
Well, if we didn't, I think that, just to add to that, if we didn't have bad people, bad situations, look at COVID, what's going on with,
Right.
all these radical groups and all that, they're teaching us a big lesson.
Huge.
Their soul agreed to play this part. Like we're all actors in the same play. So, how would we, if we didn't have anything bad, if we didn't have any bad things happen or whatever, bad people, whatever, we wouldn't know what good is. It's like yin and yang, you need the
How do
dark
you grow?
light.
How do you grow if you don't? How do you know happiness if you haven't experienced sadness?
You don't.
Right. I mean, you and I are on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, yeah, with a gamut of emotions, like, how do you know what happy is if you weren't sad? How do you, yeah. I mean, everything's like a parallel, or
The duality,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. The duality. But
different
not
sides of the
everybody,
coin.
but not, some people are more conscious than others. And I think this is a time where humanity is supposed to spiritually awaken more. And maybe that's why we're having COVID. Maybe that's why we're having all this crazy stuff going on in the world. Hopefully some good comes out of it in the end. I mean,
Well, that's what we can only hope. But here's what I'm seeing good, because people are, you know, although there's like, you have these groups and all this brouhaha going on, you have people who are showing more compassion to their neighbors, to strangers. They're helping people. They're stepping up to do things. I just watched this news uh, bit on TV this morning where this woman was behind on her rent. She was losing her car. And I mean, and she was working Grubhub or Uber. She was Ubering to make money, but yet she still wasn't able to make her nut. And people generously gave to her so that she would be able to keep her house, keep her electricity on, keep her car, to help her mother and her son. I didn't hear all the details, but people are stepping up in this way even more so than they did before COVID.
Oh, 100%. Like Barstool Sports is giving money to restaurants. They just gave $15,000 to a hot dog stand by us. So yeah, I mean, there's probably restaurants that are donating food to people, there's all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And, we just have to have that awareness and keep our eyes on being that good too, right? Help other people that cross your path.
Exactly. Just
I
like
mean,
that chef, Jose Andreas, is that his name? Jose Andreas,
I'm not
who
even-
takes his money and goes to uh, areas that are being afflicted with issues and cooks food for them. I think that's his name, Jose Andreas, and he's amazing. Now, this man will have the chef's kitchen of a lifetime when he gets to the other side. So he just,
But one kind act, I had an example once, I think I discussed with you before. It was a really cool story was when I was in Walgreens and in my head, there was a young girl paying for something and her debit card was declined and it was only $1. So that's how, much she didn't have any money. And something in my head, I believe it was Jesus in a very commanding voice said, pay for her. And then the following week I was in the same Walgreens and another lady, again, was short 99 cents. A nine's a divine number. And when I said, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it. It was really cool because she said, well, thank you. And I'll pay it forward. So, one
Mhm.
kind act
right.
from,
There's the
let's say someone
ripple.
does a kind act for you. Now, the next time you encounter something where you can help somebody, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, someone helped me once, I'm going to help. So it can create like a chain reaction.
Right. It's the ripple effect. And you did a
Yes.
kind act for me today. So, and I am so grateful for you for doing that.
Oh, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you for asking.
But yeah, so Sheri has some great experiences. She does gallery readings. And so if you don't know what a gallery reading is, it's where an auditorium of people or a room full of people get together, and Sheri will get messages, and people will be connected with their loved ones and for their messages, whether it's saying that I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm with you, whatever it might be. And I'm going to ask that you share a couple of stories. But the cool thing about when somebody does a gallery reading, I just want to put this out there, is that if you read it and it was for me, there's something in it for everybody in the room. So you really don't go away with empty hands.
Well, that's true. So in a gallery, I believe that, I've done events from 20 people, to 200 or whatever. The spirits, they run the show, not the medium. We're just a mouth. We're a messenger. We have this ability. And the spirits all like, let's say if you have a bunch of suicides, they'll decide which spirit's going to come through because they know we can't get to everybody, which will give healing to each person. So they definitely, I call it tag teaming. Spirit definitely works together. And there is usually a main topic or a couple topics or common threads that will touch the whole audience. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. So let's talk about your first experience doing a gallery reading. Would you please share that?
I was scared to death. Uh,
So
that
even psychic mediums have fear.
Yes. Well, my biggest fear was always public speaking. I got the biggest mouth in the world, kicked out of class for talking. But even in high school, when it came to doing a speech, I could go up there with a group, but when I was by myself, I'd start shaking, and I'm like, oh, it was severe anxiety with it. So much that in high school, I told the teacher, I'm not doing the speech. And she's like, you have to do it. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, give me an F. I don't care. So, I mean, that's how scared I was. So yeah, so Jenniffer, I started working with Jenniffer Weigel. And a lot of mediums start out, their first gallery is with six people in a living room, right? Leave it to Jen. She calls me up, hey, Billy Corrigan, from Smashing Pumpkins
He lives
has,
in the area.
yeah, and he has Madame Zuzu's tea house. Okay.
Yes.
And Jennifer's friends with him. So she's like, he started having like once a month spiritual talks. Like Jenniffer would bring a guest. Like, so she brought me. And it was about, I think, 40 to 50 people. And I was so nervous. Of course, I say yes to everything. And that's, I think, a valid point. Step into your fears, because that's where the miracles can happen.
Yeah.
There's no growth, and there's so much like the universe wants to give you. But if you don't step into that fear and get out of your comfort zone, it's not going to happen. Okay. So I knew I had to do it. I mean, how can you say no? And then it was, being filmed too. She was recording it. So I'm like, okay, great. Just everything that I'm afraid of. So at that morning, seriously, you guys, I was crying. I was like so nervous. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And then, let alone, you can't be anxiety or nervous because you got to talk to dead people at the same time. So something in my head said, hypnotize yourself. So I actually went on YouTube, free, did a 20-minute fear of public speaking hypnosis, and I was totally calm, and it went amazing. So, and that's what I do now. So if I didn't, step out of, into my fear, out of my comfort zone and do that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, So people, if you have these opportunities that come, or a door opens for you, take it, because it's meant to be for you.
It's so true. And a lot of times people, and I'm one of them, before someone said, Marla, stop turning down all these opportunities,
Yeah.
And so once I started saying yes to what came before me, my life did a 180, and
Yeah.
it keeps doing, it like flips 180, because the more I say yes, I started with the year of yes. I'm on year 3.
Wow. Well, yeah. And, it's like your soul knows what it came here to do. They told me what my purpose is. So thank God I don't have to wonder. I know what it is. But there's so many blessings that can come to people, but they hold themselves back. You can't do that. You gotta.
Well, if you do
You
that, you
can.
get held back.
But you know what? If it's really like a destiny thing, or it's meant to come back again, that's another opportunity is going to come to you.
It'll
So,
keep
like,
knocking on your door till you open it.
yes. And could you imagine if I didn't do that one event? I mean, I would never have got the confidence to stand up in front of people or be sitting here talking to you. So we're capable of so much more than we realize we're capable of. And my thing too is like, be limitless. So many of us limit ourselves.
Yes.
And, geez, get creative, get your creative juices going, try to do something, there is no barrier,
Right.
you can make whatever you want.
That's so true. But you know what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about spiritual development and how we find it, how we work with it, and grow our abilities, because we all have it. Stay tuned.
All right, great job. We're all clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was rolling well.
Yeah, we're still on Facebook, right?
We're both on Facebook, and we're
Okay.
recording.
Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, I mean, can you see the comments if people have?
Let me see
I
if
don't know
there
if you
are any
keep track of
comments.
comments.
Usually Bridget texts them to me, and she's not. But let's find out. And I'm going to go on Facebook and look for myself too. So there.
Yeah, it's just,
I love this.
I wish, people just need to know that there's so much more out there that they could do, what they're capable of. But
Yeah, no comments yet, but
Okay.
it's okay. It's open. Again, feel free to call in 888-346-9141 and talk to Sheri. Ask her a question. Her spirits are buzzing in her ear waiting to share some information.
And everyone's journey is so unique. I think that's what people need to realize too, right? I mean, just because, my gifts opened up this way or yours opened up your way, it's not going to be the same for everybody.
It's
Some
not.
people open slowly. Mine was very fast, right? Everybody has a different journey and a way of learning.
And it's done for a reason. And that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's done for a reason, because I couldn't open up like you. I might not have been ready for it. I would not have been able to handle it possibly.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
don't
people
know.
kind of freak out. Yeah, a lot of people would freak out. My person, I'm like, this is cool. This is fun. That's who I was. But a lot of people would be overwhelmed or anxietied. I had no fear of it. I just thought it was really cool.
Well, I know many people. Well, you know what I do, and I talk to many people in this realm, in this sect of industry, and many of them had this ability as a child. They had their invisible friend, which was really a real friend, but they were from the other side. And because the parents, the teachers, the babysitters, whomever couldn't see it, they were said, no, 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 or they had them checked for their mental capacity. And so they would shut it down so they could fit in.
Yeah, it's very common for little ones, 1, 2-year-olds to be, seeing spirit and like saying it's my imaginary friend. I think they have a study where it's like after age 7,
Right.
that sometimes the abilities turn off. I mean, it doesn't mean it always does, but you get involved in school, your parents' beliefs and all that kind of stuff. I'm always like saying, like, can you imagine like if you were Mowgli from the Jungle Book, right? Like, let's say you had no structure and you were like living in a survival mode
Okay.
in a jungle. You'd be using your intuition every second of every day. It's just another sense, right?
Yes.
I believe we're all psychics and we're all mediums, Jesus said, you guys can do what I did, even better.
Right.
So it's just another sense. And
All right, sorry to interrupt, but we are coming back.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
some people are just better than it at others, I mean,
Or more open or trust and have faith in it too.
yeah.
You are listening
Because some
to
people
Guided
have
Spirit
religious
Conversations.
issues.
To reach Marla Goldberg or her
Yeah,
guest today, you're
ideologies.
invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, I'm here with psychic medium Sheri Jewel, and we are about to go on a journey of self-discovery, of spiritual discovery. And if you've been here from the beginning, thank you for sticking with us. If you want to talk to Sheri, please feel free to call in at 888-346-9141. Again, 888-346-9141. Sheri, welcome back.
Thank you.
So let's talk about psychic development, because as we were talking on break, and you and I have had many of these conversations about, people stepping into their abilities, but afraid to, or relearning or reopening up their abilities. So when you started, you said you had worked with James Van Praagh, John Holland, but the first teacher you had to help you step into your abilities in a stronger and more knowing way. How was that for you? How did you find the person?
I never did.
All righty.
I believe my soul was my best teacher. I mean, so my gifts opened up. It was just like overnight. So it wasn't like it wasn't like it was just little by little by little by little. So I just had such, extreme experiences. And that's where, we were talking about beliefs and stuff. My experiences to me are not a belief. That's my knowing, such as archangels. I know they're real because I've worked with them. Okay. But if you never had, you're not going to believe me. So I believe that my truth comes from my experiences. So stuff I say may not, resonate with some people. Maybe it will with others. Maybe it resonates with some teachers. Maybe it doesn't. I'm a big person about authenticity. You know that about me.
Yes.
And, spirit uses my personality, which I'm going to say it, I swear. Okay.
You've got this beautiful, big, authentic, and organic personality, which I happen to have the utmost of respect for.
Oh, thank you. And I'm not going to hide it, so, I think that honor your personality and your authenticity when you do the work. I'm not going to try to pretend my personality is like, Mother Teresa. Okay. Right. I mean, I have that aspect of me. Sure. Okay.
Well, you
But I
can
also
be
have a
very,
fun-
very nurturing.
Yeah. But I also have a fun side, and, I just deliver it how I talk. But in regards to so my gifts opened up pretty much immediately. I could just do it. So I did go to like a meetup, like meetup.com. And then I searched up, psychic groups, medium groups. And I just started going to, the local spiritual centers. I read a lot online. Then I started taking the workshops, and they help. But again, I think I really threw myself into it. Like I have a friend, Michelle, that's very psychic. And we kind of were opening up at the same time. So she came into my life and we just practiced every day. So a lot of the stuff I did was, I would say 99% was self-taught. There's so much, reading you could do. And Celestine Prophecy was really strange. As I was reading that book, my gifts opened up while I was reading that book. So
Wow.
I would actually have the supernatural experience. And then when I go to read the book, it would explain what just happened. So my
Very
soul
cool.
chose to use Celestine Prophecy. And that book has actually activated a lot of people. So for beginners, I definitely recommend that book. But that actually got into the synchronicity, right? So, it's practice, join a spiritual group, a spiritual church, meet up. Now everything's online. So it's really kind of cool about the COVID thing. We can access all these courses. We don't have to travel to England to go to Arthur Findlay or, everything is available online now. So there's so much information out there, so many different mentors and teachers, there's so much free information too.
And you yourself are becoming a teacher of.
Yes, I have a meetup group. They've told me what I need to do. I just have to do it. So yeah,
But you started stepping into that role.
yes, I do have the meetup. I do teach, but I need to, they want me to make a more organized program, which I have to do, but I also have to write a book and do books. And I mean, I have a lot to do.
You do have a lot to do because you have a lot to share. So what I'm getting is sort of like, you have so much to offer anybody who's open to your way of doing this, your way of teaching, your way of disseminating information. And because it's so organic, that people will resonate with your style more than somebody trying to be more formal about it. Yeah.
I mean, to me, especially when you take courses, people get, sometimes they're nervous or whatever. To me, your soul's the best teacher. Okay. I'm there to facilitate the group, help you answer questions, give you the platform to practice, work with other people, find like-minded people, or a community. And I think it's about community. And I would never want to, everybody works so differently. This, how can I explain it? I don't want to ever force somebody to be in a box and have to be another me, or be a Marla.
And then again, nobody can.
Exactly. But so many times, people try to form, I don't want to say anything, but I see some, people do this work publicly, and I could actually tell you what teacher they went to just by their verbiage, so, which is fine. That's their way and that's honorable. Okay. But that doesn't work for me because I've actually talked to teachers. I'm like, are you going to let me be me? Otherwise I'm out the door.
Well, you want people to step into their power and their authenticity. You don't want people to be a clone of you.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody has a beauty, whether it's somebody that's quiet or someone that's loud, somebody has a sense of humor, someone that swears.
And
be honest to yourself.
It's also about ego, because with all due respect, many of these people are wonderful at what they do and they're wonderful people. But when they've put their teaching hat on, sometimes there's a little ego that comes in there, because you could tell like you said, you could tell the brand of who they learned from based on how they're doing something or how they're speaking. And look, and I'm not saying anything negative about anybody, because I have the utmost of respect of everybody who's doing it, and they're trying to get it out there for help, to help people step into their natural, their innate power that have been shut down.
Yes. So, any step, I mean, we always say, I've gone to so many different mentors or workshops or courses, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, take what resonates with you, leave the rest. If you get one thing from each mentor, each teacher, with book, course, whatever, that's great. But in the end, it still just comes down to you and what are you willing to put into it, and what work are you willing to do on yourself. And the first thing is you have to learn how to communicate with your own soul. You got to go with it.
Yes.
You
So
know,
do you feel that meditation is a great way for you to ask a question, get quiet, and hopefully receive a response?
yeah. So
Because
when I
sometimes you receive it when you're driving or in the shower. That's why I
yeah,
say it that way.
well, like in particular, I can think of one instance that pops in my head. My son wanted to go to Florida, and he's in college, and I was really nervous because of COVID. Da 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 da. So I was really stressed out about it. I'm like, do I let him go or don't I? So finally, one day, I was like, just close my eyes, and I was like really adamant that I wanted an answer. I mean, I was mad. I'm like, I don't care if it's my mom, my dad, my soul, my guides and angels. Somebody tell me if it's safe for my son to go. So then I just got quiet, and then I see a lot of, pictures and get messages and
Right.
meditations. Not everybody does, which is fine. Um, and I saw my dad, and my dad's in the spirit world. And I saw my dad, and then all of a sudden I saw like a little piece of paper, and it said yes. Like I actually saw the word yes written on a paper. So
Wow.
it was safe for my son to go to Florida, and he went. He didn't get COVID. He came home safe. So you can get answers by doing that, and don't get discouraged because sometimes it doesn't happen right away. But
It's so true.
it may come to you in a dream. It may come. Ask for the sign. Something.
And the thing is, I want to read you something in a second. But the thing is, you can, believe it or not, you have to ask your angels for help and get quiet to allow them to do it. But there are a lot of times there are beings on the other side, like angels, that don't have free will. So unless you say, I need help me with this, and ask them for what you need and want,
Right.
you're not going to get it.
Well, that's why, we've talked before. I've, been hugged by Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
I'm not special. I'm just a regular person like you, and angels, it's available. You just have to, seek it or like invite it, say I invite Archangel Michael, or I invite the archangels in my life. I invite Jesus. I
Invoke
always,
them in.
yeah. And once you ask, they're there. Now,
Right.
maybe not everybody's going to have such a severe experience. I mean, I think my experiences, were so fast and furious and extreme because they wanted me to wake up quick and let's get to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. It's amazing. So Nicole Schopner had written here, amazing conversation. My greatest teachers always asked me to find my own answers. I often felt frustrated, but when the answer comes from within, it's completely transformative.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And it's a knowing. It's not a belief. You're like, again, we're going back to that word trust, trust, surrender, and allow. And that was a beautiful message and right on point. When you get the answer from within, I don't care if you're the president of the United States or whoever you are, I'm not going to listen to you, because if I was shown this personally to me, I'm not listening to anybody. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Husband, president, I don't care. I mean, it's such a strong knowing when it happens.
It's so true. It's so strong. And so here's the thing too. If you don't listen to it the first time, and this has happened to me, where, you'll feel a tap and you'll hear a message and you'll say, okay, fine, I'll get to it. But you're not in their time frame, and they tap you a little bit harder, you a little bit harder. And the next thing you know, they're just like smacking you on your back saying, go ahead. And in my case, it was tell somebody something, and they wouldn't leave me alone. And it kept getting stronger and stronger and harder until I said it. Once I said it, poof, the spirit disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
It just wanted the message out. And you just have to share what you need to share, what you're told to share, and move on.
So one instance that's popping in my head right now is it's about the beginning of my journey. Like I said, Archangel Michael came and hugged me. I mean, I felt every feather, go like this.
Aww.
And then it was so cool because it was like being wrapped up in a cocoon. It's from head to toe, and I'm tall, okay? And it felt like the feathers went all the way down to my feet. And then this divine love and this piercing of my heart. Like, have you ever been like touched by the divine in your heart?
Yes.
It's like a pure love that you can't even explain as a human being.
Right.
And then I think it was a few days later, within a couple of weeks, whatever it was, a very short time, I don't know why they always get me naked. I don't get it. It's like going in the shower. I was naked, going to get in the shower. And all of a sudden I heard this booming, loud man's voice go to church. God's waiting. It was a Wednesday. It wasn't like a Sunday or anything. And I don't go to church. I mean, I do once in a while, but very
Right.
few and far between. But I mean, to get that message, like, go to church, God's waiting. I mean, I jumped up and I was like, yeah, I was scared to death. I got in the shower. I went to that church, and I go to the church, and it was a Wednesday, so nobody was in there. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? I'm here. But nothing happened. But it was probably to see, well, first I have to let me know the divine's working with me and God and everything else. But then am I going to listen? Like you were saying, are we going to listen? So, oh, hell yeah. When you get a message like that, you're like, I'm there. I'm not, you don't question anything. So you really do need to listen. And I think that that's one benefit I always had. I always listen to my own guidance, you know,
And
I
it's,
act on it. I
yeah.
act on it. You have to act on it.
And it's a gift because a lot of people don't act on what they get. So, one of the big steps is have faith, have trust.
Yes.
And if you need to test it, go to where you have to take a right or a left turn, ask for guidance and see, and this is on a road you don't know, see what it tells you to do. And if you don't follow it, dollars to donuts, you went the wrong way and you're going to have to turn around and go the other way because that's what Spirit was telling you.
I think, people like general public or people that, gifts haven't opened up yet, think that, or even when someone's grieving, they think the message is going to be so loud in their head.
It's so subtle.
It's not always like that. I mean, it can be, but a lot of times it's so subtle, and if you don't have that awareness, like we were talking, we talked about calling cards, right? When Spirit's near us. Right. My ear hums when Spirit comes around, or my crown might tingle. I might get hot. I might get really cold. There's so many different goosebumps, there's so many different things. If you've lost somebody significant, especially a parent that lost a child, a lot of times they're with you. You just don't have the awareness because you're grieving so heavy still, right?
Yes.
But if you just sit on the couch and you start thinking of your loved one, your love brings them close to you. And then just sit there just quietly and see if you feel cold or hot or a tingle. I mean, I've had it where it feels like they just like a little fly on my face. It's so subtle where it can feel like a little tickle, like they're touching you, right?
Right. Like a stroke. Yeah. like fingers stroking your cheek very gently. Not that kind of stroke.
Yeah. Yes. So, it's us human beings. Spirit's right here for everybody, especially the COVID. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, everyone's loved ones are, dead people are with you in your home.
Yes.
We all have to just have that awareness.
It's much more crowded than you think it is.
It's common. I mean, the spirit world's here.
We are never alone. And that's the thing too, is even if you're living by yourself, you are not alone.
Exactly. And so many people, it's so sad because, we've all had depression. We've all had sadness. We've all gone through hard things. And really, if we could get that message out, and people would, hear or believe or accept it, to realize, yeah, we're not. I mean, who am I to have Archangel Michael come to me? Where did that come from? Why me? I don't know. Maybe we're buddies on the other side. How do I know? It's there for everybody. You just have to start exploring, start seeking, read a book, listen to our conversations or other people's conversations. Take one step forward into it so that the mystery can unveil itself to you directly.
Absolutely. And if you want to know more about Sheri and what she does and what's coming up, go to her website. It's sherijewel.com, correct?
No.
Sheri,
SheriTheMedium.com.
SheriTheMedium. And Sheri is SHERI.
Yes.
TheMedium.com. So check out Sheri's stuff because you'll know what events are coming up, what she can do, how she can work with you. And you if you're going to reach out to her, it's meant to be. It's not just because we're telling you to do this on this side.
No, and that's cool because Spirit does nudge people to certain mediums.
Yes.
Like I talk to a lot of dead teenagers or people, that have died from drug overdoses. And I think it's because, well, first I have kids and, young adults. And I think I also will say whatever they want to say and I'll talk like the teenager. They're not going to go to the old granny medium that talks all prim and proper. You know what I mean?
Right. Because yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'll just be like, hey, who's on heroin? I just bluntly say, and that's where I think I do. Actually, it's a lot of boys, especially in the spirit world. It's very strange, but I think I'll talk in their language.
You will, and I think it's amazing, and they will talk to you because yes, you will relate. But we'll be back in a minute. We need to go on a break and pick up again with Sheri on the other side. So stay tuned.
And there we are.
Almost.
All right, great job. We're all clear.
Thank you.
I'll start nicknaming him Casper. When I do my galleries, we have like a time moderator, and on the Zoom we named him Casper, like where it's like Marla or Sheri. So we make this guy Casper because he just pops in out of nowhere.
Oh, Matt, he's wonderful. He keeps me on track, and I'm so grateful for that.
He's got a good voice for this.
Yeah, he does. So
it's so cool because everyone's journey is so unique, and that's what's kind of cool, you know. And I think that's why we have these experiences, though, that we can share them, right? Because something that happened to you or something I'm saying happened to me, somebody in the audience, or if this is meant to be, they're going to hear this conversation.
And they can relate.
Yeah. And they're going to be like, you know, you want to give people that aha moment, right?
Absolutely. I wish more people would realize that if they're going through a challenging time in their life, that first of all, if you just stop and listen, you'll get the guidance that you need, but you have to trust the guidance you get. You know, there's so many people who are going through challenging ways, but they keep making the same decisions over and over again, giving them the same results.
Well, it's kind of like picking the same partner. Like if you were married or to an alcoholic or a drug addict or an abuser, your subconscious mind, you break up with that person, is going to give you the same thing that you're used to until you make that conscious decision to change who you're picking, you know, work on yourself.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, so many people keep repeating that same pattern over and over and over.
And so I told you about going to Delphi U, and there's a very famous psychic medium, Arthur Ford, who's on the other side. He passed in 1971. But there's somebody at Delphi who can channel him. And what he reminded me, because it's taught all the time, but you know, in the scheme of things, you get busy, you forget certain things, that everything begins and ends with you. So if something's going on, you have to say, what is it about me? Why do I feel that it's okay that somebody abuses me physically, mentally, emotionally? If somebody uses me as a scapegoat, what is it about me that allows this?
Well, I think that's a really key point. It's self-awareness, right? You know, I mean, just even like look on, Facebook, but look at all how with everything going on, look how many angry people are out there now and how many angry posts are, and they're blaming it on the president or COVID or I don't know, on the grandmother, who knows? They're blaming everybody for everything. You know, they might say, you know, one president is a bully or this congressperson is a bully, but look at your own post and what you're doing. You're bullying just like them. Like if somebody puts a post up that you know, well, let's use it. Republicans and Democrats, right? Democratic people are mad at Republicans. Republican people don't want to talk Democrats. It's terrible. You know, meet somewhere in the middle, because you're complaining that so-and-so is a bully or someone's really mean or angry. Well, what are you doing to the other person? You're doing the same thing. And if you're attacking them on a post.
Right.
So again,
okay, Matt, we got it. Thank you.
All right. Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, so have that self-awareness on your own actions. If you want to change your world and you want to change your life, start with yourself.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations.
True words.
To reach Marla Goldberrg,
true
guest today, you're invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. If you're just tuning in, I'm with psychic medium Sheri Jewel, and we've been having a very spirited conversation about psychic development, about the other side of, you know, just trusting, having faith. But before we get into our conversation again, it's charity shout out time, and Sheri's charity is the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So let's talk about that.
So I do events with Lisa Salvatore, and you know Lisa. She's also an astrologer, medium, psychic, and her little niece is 7 years old and has leukemia and going through very aggressive treatment. So Lisa asked me to join her team to raise, you know, fundraiser. We're going to have an event with some entertainers, There'll be a fundraising page. That event will be April 11th. And we're basically just trying to raise enough, money to support as many people involved in that as we can, So look forward, I'll put that on my website when it comes up. And my dad also had leukemia. So it's very.
Let's find a solution by donating, by helping out.
My son's friend had it and he, thank God, lived. So, it's kind of close to my heart. And plus I'm trying to help Lisa. But yeah, I mean, whatever you can do to help other people, now especially.
Absolutely. And so if you want to check out Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, it's lls.org. So check it out. Be a part of the solution.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying too that, I've had to attend some meetings regarding this. So I've learned a little more. And they were saying they've actually come up, LLS Society has come up with cures for other kind of cancers or treatments for other kinds of cancers through their work, because they're studying the blood. So it doesn't only just hit leukemia and lymphoma. They've made successes with breast cancer from their research.
How wonderful is that? And I mean, even though, cancer has made, or cancer solutions have made huge, giant strides, they can still make huger, bigger strides. And because I know some people who have had cancer, and yes, they're in remission, which is wonderful. But once they were done with their chemo and their radiation, and they had to take medication to keep it from coming back, the medication that they took afterwards cause worse long-lasting effects than the actual disease.
Yeah. I mean, my mom had breast cancer at age 50 and had chemo, and it never came back, and she lived till she was 80, so.
God bless.
Yeah. So some people, I don't know, everybody's body's different. Again, there's something about it too. When it's your time, it's your time.
I know at some point, and spiritually speaking,
yes,
they say that when people in your life come down with something, that again, we go back to the lessons, opportunities, and gifts. And so the person might have to deal with the illness personally because of something they have to learn, but there's also lessons involved for everybody else around them, people in their family, people they might be employed by or who work for them.
right.
And to just be aware.
I always use this example, like somebody will be like, let's say I gave birth to a handicapped child in a wheelchair. They're just awfully sick, right?
Yes.
People are like, what did I do? Why do I have that child? What if that child decided to be your best teacher as a soul? He or she came in to teach you patience, unconditional love. And, that child decided to sacrifice their own body and be handicapped or be ill so that they would teach the whole family, the brothers, the sisters. I mean, think about it, compassion. There's so many lessons that come out of something like that.
It's so true.
You got to look at the bigger picture,
And sometimes it's really hard. My husband had throat cancer, and that's what kept me, calm and throughout the whole the process, because I mean, could I have been like, insanely crazy and nervous and anxious, but I wasn't. And not only was it good for me, but it was good for him in what he was going through, because he had his own emotions going on.
Oh, sure.
The last thing he needed was for me to put mine on top of his. And the environment we had, we kept it light. We kept it we joked a lot. Yes, he was in pain and, going through the recovery, but it was peaceful. It was calm. And that I think made a huge difference. And he ended up not having to have radiation or chemo. He just had 2 surgeries back to back, literally 1 week apart. And that's what he got.
Probably had the knowing, like, I died once. And you would think I'd be scared because I'd have heart surgery. And I mean, everybody around me, like my husband or whoever, was like scared. And they're like, aren't you nervous? I'm like, nah, I'll be fine. I like knew I wasn't going to die, So maybe you kind of were feeling that with, your husband. You just kind of had that knowing he'd be okay.
And there's no death in my world. That's because true. Even though they physically might not be here, which I would miss tremendously, I know that they're on the other side, right behind me.
Yes.
Cheering me on, experiencing my joys with me, supporting me when I needed support. And it's still happening with my
Well,
relatives.
I believe that, like, like both my parents died and just a couple years ago, kind of very close together. I gotta tell you something, when you have this knowing that the afterlife is real, it does make grief so much easier. There's so many people that don't believe in it and they're like thinking that person's just gone, So it really is comforting knowing when you have that knowing that there is an afterlife, you've had experiences, you don't only believe it, it makes grief easier.
And if you want to test this little theory of ours, put it out there. Say, show, put on your favorite song. I miss you. I want to hear your favorite song. Dollars to Donuts. You might find it on a commercial. It might be, come on in your car radio or some random, and this has happened. And the Sheri, where all of a sudden, something turns on on its own and there's the song.
Exactly. That's the other thing. Anyone that's lost, a loved one, ask for a sign. Because your thoughts, when you're thinking of them and your love that you have for them, that brings them close to you.
You're pulling them in.
Yeah. But ask for a sign and ask for a really loud, definite sign. Some people it's cardinals,
obvious.
Coins, a song. There are so many different things. Ask for something weird.
If somebody liked, what is it, gummy bears, or like at Valentine's Day, I used to love those gel hearts. Oh my God, when I ate sugar, yum. Like ask for something like that to show up, something that was their favorite. And all of a
Here's
sudden,
the thing though, like some people, I can use an example that happened to my friend. She was asking for a blue butterfly. Now that's not that common.
No.
Okay. So you're thinking, logical thinking is thinking it's going to be a butterfly, like that flies, like a real animal, right?
Right.
No, what happened was when she went on the computer, her computer screen, whatever, I don't know what site she was on, there was just blue butterflies all over it. So it can be, you might see someone's Facebook post or something, maybe us talking, will give someone confirmation. But again, it all comes down to self-awareness and be an observer so that you notice it.
And you have to be open. The most important thing is you have to be open to what you're asking for, and don't be so literal. That's what Sheri is saying.
Yeah. Be open-minded, because spirit I've had crazy experiences, and to me, it's limitless. They can do anything. Okay. It's just, again, us paying attention, so just people just open your minds. Really what it is. It's just, prove it to be not true. Some people are like, no way. Well, then prove it. Prove to me that's not real. Right.
I love that. Yes. Turn it around.
Yeah.
So that is wonderful. Sheri, we're coming to a close.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you for popping in at the last minute. So people who, heard me promoting someone else that was going to be a guest, the Wi-Fi there was sketchy due to storms in Indonesia. And so there were some issues. So Sheri was gracious enough to step in, and I am so grateful. Check her out at Sheri the Medium, SHERI, themedium.com, to learn more about Sheri, what she does, how she works with her clients, and how she can help you, because she can. She's available for private one-on-one sessions, for gallery readings,
a lot of Zoom parties now.
A lot of Zoom parties. Yeah.
We're on Zoom parties now. Yes.
And there's no time and space and spirit. So Sheri can be just as accurate from a distance as she can if you were sitting in her living room.
Yeah. There's no difference on the phone. Some people are like, how can you do this work on the phone? I'm like, it's the same thing. Spirit travels. Spirit comes to me. So yeah.
Absolutely. So Sheri, thank you. Please check her out. Please check out the LLS.org, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and see how you might be able to support them, whether it's through donations, or maybe if you have a talent that could be used on this fundraiser on April 11th, that might be.
Yes. Actors, actresses, musicians, comedians. Yeah. And we'll be selling tickets for that. And the fundraising starts, I think, March 25th.
Perfect.
It'll be on my Facebook page.
Thank you, Sheri, so much. I love you. Okay. I want to thank everyone at Voice America for getting this show up and running and doing all that you do for me. Bridget, thank you. Left arm, right arm. She's my assistant and she keeps me on track. Thank you. I want to thank you, the audience, for taking time out of your life, out of your day, to participate in this podcast, whether you're listening to just the audio or you're watching us and getting even more information. Thank you. I am so grateful for you, and I feel so blessed that you take the time to participate in this show. I want to send prayers once again to the whole United States who is dealing with all these weather issues, these big storms, these people who are snowed in, and especially to those right now who are in Texas without heat, water, and everything else. So if there's something you can do for a neighbor, please do a wellness check. Bring them into your home. Don't, just make sure that they're okay as well. And as I leave you, as always, I send you love, blessings, gratitude. Know how much you're loved, know how much you're appreciated, and how grateful I am for you. Stay well.